What's up, folks?
Hey, boys.
Going on?
Good to see
Oh, yeah. Oh, where's the cam now? Boom. Everything changed.
you. Welcome, Jordan and Kev. Thank you guys for joining us today.
It's awesome to be
Hell
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Jordan, we've had you on before, and you're always one of my favorites. I love your Twitter content. And Kevin, we've been trying to get you on the show for so long now, and we're finally got you on here. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's nice to meet you, Kevin.
Thanks for doing this, boys.
I like that, guys.
And Pat, haven't seen you in a while.
Hell yeah. While you still talk, I'm getting high, man. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. I've been waiting for months.
Pat's
For
out squeezing
months?
oranges.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I fucking recently quit the marijuana, so this will be my first dab in a long fucking time.
So if you're my friends quitting it, I don't get the thought process behind it. Like, what's the thing in your life you're trying to remove? Fun? Happiness? What is it?
No, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and if I do dabs all day, my fucking kids outlast me. I am so tired by the end of it. I'm so burnt out, and then I end up getting short with them, and it's not their fault. So I'll probably add it back into my life whenever I don't have a 16-hour day every day, and the end of it being with the kids. If I had to deal with the kids all day and then go to work, I could be fucking tired at work. I just don't like being tired and grumpy with the kids for no reason at all.
So it sounds to me like your kids should start smoking weed. That would really solve the problem.
It sounds to me like I should have pulled out. Is what it sounds to me like.
Wow, that was rude.
Yeah. Well, like that listening.
It kind of cut.
But
I lost you for a second.
But fuck it, let's get high.
Hell yeah. So I started going to Ontario to buy my weed because they have more choices and I can buy fucking refills and stuff for my vapes and multi-THC vape. I don't smoke nicotine. So
Right.
I caught this, what's it called, man? Pink something, man. It's so fucking rich. It's like almost 40%. So I put the smallest nug in my press and I got so much juice coming out. It's insane, man.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be mixing that with some diamonds right now.
Fucking
Nice.
connoisseur.
We're having we have a chat. Oh yeah, we do.
And Jordan's been going since we fucking logged off all together 20 minutes ago. He's been fucking up in that bed the whole time.
Was he? I thought he was just sober.
I don't think so.
I was when I got here.
So was there some change in your life? Because last time you didn't smoke on screen, man.
Yeah. I guess, like, I usually just, like, do joints, but I don't do it in the house, obviously. But I got a pen today.
Plus, he realized nobody watches our show anyway, so fuck it. Who cares? He got 11 views. I don't think I don't think my boss is watching.
This is my stuff, man.
Yeah, that's diamonds, all right. I'm jealous.
Are you? Come on, you got
A little.
for sure.
Not here.
You don't?
I had to put, like I told you earlier,
Yeah.
man, I don't even have stuff at my house, so I had to press it. Oh, fuck, my wife has some shatter. Never mind, I'm going to take a dab of this, too.
So I figure I can't order from you anymore.
No.
Oh fuck.
Sadly enough.
Oh man.
So, before we get into any, like, Habs talk and shit like that, can we fucking all take a second to denounce the nonsense that Reinbacher had to go through? That's bullshit.
Well, I want to see it because they
What do
say
you
that
mean?
every year it's that same thing. So
No,
was it
Hughes
that
confirmed it.
was it what
Hughes confirmed it.
yeah, was it that one or two fucking idiots or was it like dozens? That's what I want to know.
Even if it was the fucking one or two idiots, can we denounce that? Like, I saw it with my own eyes.
No, we can't, man. The one or two idiots, you gotta hashtag bail causes or whatever for this mental health, dude. There's some fucking mentally ill people that are gonna react to internet stuff. Like it's gonna happen. So if it's
You know, you
a
know.
handful of
No,
people, then maybe fucking crazy people fucking reacting like I don't know.
Also,
what the real problem is the fucking educate. And sorry, I don't mean to fucking put you on blast here, Kev, but the education system has not done a good enough job of fucking reminding the new generation of how fucking terrible a monster that fucking Hitler was. You know what I mean? Like you can't, like that's part of the problem. Like fucking history's doomed to repeat itself, right? So fuck that they could even fucking put the same sentence is just beyond.
yeah.
But dude,
Okay, so
It was a monster. Like fucking, this kid plays hockey from the same country that fucking bananas.
so the
yeah,
Hitler,
that one specifically is idiotic.
yeah, that's it.
I also,
Sorry, go ahead, Kev. My bad, man.
I was just saying, like, there was other reports that there's like thousands of people were messaging him. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Thank you. Same.
Somebody said like the night of the draft they checked his Instagram and it was like all positive. I'm sure there's some idiots, but yeah, I wonder if the thousands are legit.
Well,
To go back
like,
to the, Brian, to the Hitler thing, man. To the Hitler thing, it's the usual fucking suspect, the usual fucking Twitter arsonist. The guy, we all know him.
yeah.
Batman stirring shit again. Like we don't. You can't fucking qualify the crowd on this guy. It doesn't work like that, man. This guy's a fucking moron. He's done it
No,
fucking
no.
tens of times in the past, man. Like you can't react to this guy. He's a fucking troll, man.
No, but the post itself said there were thousands of DMs, including a couple that said that, like in the post, it never said that there was 1,000 fucking comparisons to Hitler. You know what I mean?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They said there were thousands of DMs. So even if it wanted Mitchkov, like that counts as towards the fucking thousands of DMs. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess so.
they also said including these fucking special cases, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted, like, I just want it fucking known that fucking Batman could go suck a dick. That's basically what I'm trying to.
I agree, man.
Because we saw it with our own eyes. The guy was doubling down. He was posting a fucking a plethora of screenshots the other day of the people that shared it, so they're just as bad as him, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Even the retweets that were meant to expose how stupid he is, he counted them in, right?
I think
Yeah.
quote tweets are the fucking one of the worst things on fucking Twitter, man. Get rid of quote tweet. Trust me.
Nah, that's
Don't-
my bread. That's my bread and butter right there.
You're the reason I think it sucks.
I can't say I don't ever do it.
I love it,
No,
dude.
I'm guilty too, but I mean, like, I think that's a very good source of like some of the toxicity on Twitter or fucking quote tweets, man.
Yeah.
You can retweet it, just can't quote tweet it. That's what I
Yeah.
would do. And I'd put a fucking limit on 500 posts that you could read in one day. Fuck you guys.
I would go. I would go for letters, like characters, the same way we
Yeah.
have a limit. It's so many characters you should be able to read, not tweets.
So you might not even be able to finish that last
No,
tweet before
you
you.
don't. Well, you could just pay that fucking monthly fee, buddy. Listen, you could read the whole tweet.
That is and I guess the choice is yours. It's fucking
You know what?
cabled versus
Maybe
wireless,
that.
right?
Yeah, there you go. And maybe that's the future. Maybe you can tweet as many characters as you want, but the person on the other side can only read that many. Like, think about it.
On the like, Twitter's a cesspool since Elon bought it. But do you guys go to the For You section ever? And
I
it's
can't turn it off.
it's still like people getting murdered and like people getting jumped and like I'm like, how is this for me? Like I didn't ask for this violence.
It's like a car accident. You fucking don't want to see it, but you
I
can't.
know.
look away.
So
Like
the
I said
algorithm-
a couple weeks ago, I watched a person get eaten by a shark. Like,
Yeah, the algorithm is like, you seem like the type of person who would appreciate that.
And okay, so here's the other thing too. We do realize that that's playing everybody like a fiddle. Like whether you lean left, you're going to see hardcore right ideology, or if you lean right, you're going to see hardcore left ideology. Because the only times I see fucking like men complaining that they have menstrual cramp videos are from the fucking right. They get triggered by it and then they tweet it into my timeline. And it's never someone who's fucking like a liberal that fucking retweets that shit. They're always retweeting the fucking AR-15 in Subway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we're all getting played like fiddles with that For You section. It's
So-
fucking it's designed to pester in your brain.
So it's the same as before, basically. They just made a section for it, but that's already what they fed us. They fed us what pissed us off since the
Yeah.
beginning of fucking
Yeah.
Twitter, dude.
Yeah. Well, anyway, should we get into some hockey talk instead of?
I was gonna say that's classic fucking Habs and Dabs start right there, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's. Yeah. So I know.
Ready?
I think I know who everybody wanted at the draft. So let's go around the circle. Like if it was your pick at 5 with the people that
Guys.
were there.
Can we? You know what? I'm gonna start with something else. Carey
Who wants to go first?
He fucking
Yeah.
guy melted my fucking heart, and the struggle with the name was just fucking hilarious. Nothing, but the fact he was there, oh man, I wasn't ready for that. My heart fucking imploded.
Feel so bad for the guy. Like you could tell he felt so bad about it.
But what's
Well,
it like
like-
seeing Carey Price nervous in front of the crowd for almost the first time in his fucking life?
Well, he wasn't planning on being there. He was there for the Blake Shelton concert, and it fucking just seemed to line up with the draft. That's all.
Oh really?
Is that true?
Oh.
Oh shit! You should have said. You should have went all in on that, dude. Oh man.
Yeah, man.
You had me.
Here to fucking correct me on that. I blew it. God
You had
damn it,
me.
Well,
Yeah, I said something about that on the weekend. A lot of people believe me too. It's like, no, he was just there for fucking Blake Shelton.
just break Twitter and say he was there for fucking pro-life walk or whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Do it. Break fucking Twitter. Do it.
It was Nashville, so it could have very well have been.
So who wants to go first on the who they wanted?
No,
Well, I
you
saw,
do, Gordon.
I saw an interesting article that was mentioning Price felt so bad about messing up Reinbacher's name that he's helping him deal with the media now that all the backlash is happening. So that's even cooler for Price, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's all class.
Yeah.
That just puts the icing on the cake of what a beauty the guy just is.
Absolutely.
I saw the article too. It melts your heart. What a guy.
Yeah, I wanted Matvei Michkov.
And
You did?
give us the lowdown. Give us the reason why.
The simple reason is just this team's been missing an offensive superstar for 40 years. Like, it was an offensive loaded draft. You had a chance at getting a superstar, and next year's draft is loaded with high-end defensemen. I just thought it was logical to take the big swing and go for a
Yeah.
defenseman next year.
Wait until you see the fucking forward we pick next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Your turn.
So I understood that they were kind of him and Han around Mishkov. I knew it wasn't likely. I really like Benson in that spot, but I would have also been pretty happy with Leonard. But my personal pick would have been Benson. Also that I've been very vocal about the one thing I didn't want is a defenseman. So
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I said as long as you get a high-end forward, take a swing on someone. Benson was probably my number 2 after Michkov or Leonard. It was a toss-up, but I just wanted one of those forwards. So like,
yep.
They drafted for need. They drafted for need when they were telling us they were going to draft the most talented player available, and it is what it is at this point. But
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes from the organization, I cannot hold them responsible for what they tell me on the way up to the draft because they're basically telling everybody else the same thing. I don't want anybody picking above me to know what I'm going to be doing either. So lie to me, slap me in the face, call me Sheila, fucking don't care. You do whatever you need to do to get. And like I didn't like the pick. I wanted a high end forward too. Leonard was my next one on the list with Benson right behind him. I was weary about Mitch Koff, and I just wasn't sure if he wanted to play here, and that was the only reservation I had. But yeah, I wanted Leonard or Benson because, like, fuck, you got to. I tweeted it like this. I said, it's like eating the burger at the restaurant, right? You order the burger every time you go, and every once in a while, somebody orders something that comes to your table. You're like, my God, I should have got that, right? So it's like, Do I love burgers any less? No, but one day I should try the Wellington. You know what I mean?
Excellent,
Yeah.
dude. The way I
What
was
about
looking at the draft was it started the day before the draft. They traded some picks. I thought that was weird for a guy that for fucking negotiation rights, not even a fucking roster player at this point, just fucking paperwork. I found that weird, especially since you think fucking the value of a pick is gonna peak at the table on the floor, right? So the day before, that blew my mind. So I was kind of expecting a trade back, maybe a pick or two for someone that wanted Michkov, and then we could pick maybe Leonard or a rank or two later, right? That's what I thought I had expected the team to do, which when they picked a D-man at the fucking stage, that blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But like, it can't be.
You know
I
what?
don't get it. I still don't get it to this point. And I love the kid. Seems like a perfect kid, good attitude, good everything. It's not about the
Yeah.
same thing as last year's with Slavkovsky, right? Love the kid, but was surprised for sure. Anyway, so that's kind of where I stand on the first pick. I found it weird.
So Pat,
Okay.
who did you want at that pick? I don't think you said.
I wanted to trade down to maximize the value and get Leonard, but get something else also, like a third round pick or second or late first. Like some people were high on Mishkov and wanted him, and I thought we could gamble that, and we did it. That's
Would
really my expectation was Leonard.
you gambled on Askarov at all? Would you have because the rumor was that they were offered fifth pick for Askarov and maybe something else? I don't know.
I
Would
think
you
it
have
was.
gambled on?
I think it was Askarov and 15th overall and the 24th. Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
I hope we have a boring goalie story going on, and I really hope the team we're building is not relying on a top goalie. Play Montembeault. He's free. We have him right now, dude. It's fucking
We
$0 more on the plan's
and
there.
you and I have said this too. Goalie should be the last thing you address whenever you're fucking going for it. You know what I mean? Like the last thing you want to do is fucking have a fucking goalie that's keeping you drafting at 15th every fucking year because your team just isn't good enough to make that next step, and you're not bad enough because your fucking goalie's too good.
Except, okay, so I like that comment because it brings me somewhere and try to follow me through it because it's weird. But
Okay?
in
We
the
love
last
it. We
two
love
drafts,
that here.
in the last two drafts, they have drafted in a way that they're not. We've all clamored for like a proper rebuild and going through the draft, but that's clearly like that's not what they're doing. They're retooling around Suzuki and Caulfield, the Doc trade, the New Hook trade, Slavkovsky because he was playing against Manny and he's going to be ready. They're leaving some ceiling there, and they're going for floor for someone that's going to be ready a little bit sooner. And the Reinbacher pick is the same thing again, right? We need a defenseman. We need him to slot him there. We're going to leave guys with higher ceiling, pick up a guy that's got a high floor, that's going to be ready a bit quicker. So what I don't understand about the Reinbacher selection is if that's how you're going to do it and you're going to leave guys with higher ceilings, then in what world are you not trading that pick if Askarov is there, plus you get two more picks in that first round? Like, the Reinbacher pick looks like it's halfway between one way of doing it and the other way of doing it. You're kind of trying to play the fence and you're going to get hurt.
That's a good point. I think
That's
the rebuild
possible.
started. I think the rebuild started a couple of years ago, though. I don't know. We've talked about it a couple of times.
So
I think they did a lot of fucking weird, exactly what you're mentioning, Kev. They did a lot of fucking weird signings and stuff like that to make it look like it wasn't a fucking rebuild. But we were stockpiling draft picks like crazy. Like every move that we made out, like we got a piece or two back on top of what we sent out.
even the return for Edmondson, right? Isn't that fucking underwhelming? A third and a seventh or something? It's a what are we gonna do?
Here's the thing about the Edmondson trade. Like fucking first things first, you get a couple dollars off the books. But the next thing is you are forcing one of your high ceiling defensemen to take that next step to eat 20 minutes instead. You've got no option left in Edmondson. You know what I mean? He's a safe bet. We've got Savard, who will be that guy this year, the guy that you throw in for 25 minutes a game. But you need somebody to take that next spot. That's what I like about the Edmondson trade. There's no more safety net. Kid's got to do it.
Yeah, but to Pat's point, I think if you You don't think they get a second for him at the deadline? I think they
Thank you.
got offered second at the deadline, and then they went, "Oh, well, I'll do better at the draft," and then they didn't.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I get what you're saying now.
It's
I
I
think
thought you
they
meant this.
also see how players around the league are basically being moved for nothing just for the cap space. Cap space is so valuable right now. I guess shedding that whatever it was 1.75 at 50% right now was as valuable as maybe holding off and getting a second instead of a third and a seventh. Like,
I guess so. I
Fair.
guess
That's
so.
true.
So does it kind of say that Hughes is still on the market right now? Try to get some cash faster than everybody else because he's still on he still has a few bait out there.
I would imagine there's still some players he would like to move on the roster. I mean,
Or sign free
you
agents,
can
I meant.
you can name them. I mean, I'm sure he'd like to shed Yoel Armia's contract. Obviously, I
I
think
think
he'd like to shed Brendan Gallagher's contract, but that's not happening.
that's impossible.
Mike Hoffman, I would imagine he would like to shed.
Now, I got something. I think he'd hang on to Mike Hoffman. Mike Hoffman, hear me out. Another fucking tangent. Montreal Canadiens have had a real issue getting the puck to the forwards for the last as long as I can remember. That's part of why we have such bad offense, because forwards have to come and get the speed through the neutral zone with the puck because our defensemen can't get them the puck. I think Mike Hoffman is a much better hockey player if he can get the puck from the defenseman with speed through the neutral zone, because he has been a goal scorer his entire career. I think he's stifled in Montreal because of our fucking inability to get the puck up the ice.
Oh, that's
I would hang
definitely
on to Mike Hoffman.
possible. And he's on his last year, isn't he? Or does he have one more? Yeah. So I mean, he could be a deadline move.
Yeah, I
I
think they would take a trade for Anderson. I think they have a line in the sand. They won't go below it, but as soon as it's matched, he's gone. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're looking to move Hoffman, and here's why. The last game of the year was against Boston. It was a revenge game for him after he got cross-checked in the mouth. And in the last game of the year, you take a vet and you scratch him. You're putting writing on the wall.
Fair enough.
But I could be wrong. But
No. That's a solid argument for sure.
Did you see the comment? Hugh said they might be looking for some goaltending depth.
I didn't see that.
I thought I seen that
heard-
earlier today.
yeah,
Like,
it was an espresso in French. He said that.
we already like how many goalies do we need?
But he said that he said profondeur like that. Like who knows? He was even talking about fucking Montreal. Maybe he's just saying that if one of the two get injured, we need better than fucking Primo, right? So I don't know, man. I'm not stressed about that comment. He said depth. Well, yeah, we're gonna be riding Montembeault for the majority of this season, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Kincaid's probably available, right? Who? Kincaid?
Yeah, he's got to be.
No, we had this streak of fucking odd second goalies for the past years, man. Who's the last good one, honestly? That's fucking Peter Budaj, or did
He was the
Montoya
best.
Montoya did good enough for you guys?
No, probably Peter Budaj.
Yeah.
I remember saying back in the day too, like that was one of my biggest pet peeves with Bergevin was he would go out and he would get this veteran fucking goalie off UFA, and I like, can you just fucking trade for somebody young to hang out behind Carey Price? Like, fucking every year he would get hurt, and then every year the fucking wheels would fall off. It was the worst.
I wouldn't mind if they traded Jake Allen so they could do that with Caden Primo now. Bring him up, and he can back up Montembeault, and Dobesh can play starter in Laval.
I don't see why you conceive 20 fucking losses right off the bat like that in your season. Sounds cocky. Just start the season giving away 20 losses to the kid who can't fucking handle that pressure, man. If he ever succeeds in the NHL, in my opinion, it's gonna be like low key a quiet market, like in the desert or the temp.
It wasn't Primo, but fucking we like our goaltending was so bad that we fucking took a 20-game lead and then didn't make the playoffs. What was that in 2017 or whatever it was?
Dude,
we looked like we won like the first 20 games of the fucking season and then didn't make the playoffs.
You're describing every season under Michel Therrien right now, all of them.
Yeah. He was always fucking. He always capitalized those first 10 games, man. We always took a fucking jump. I always thought that he was just ready to pounce on rusty teams. That's what it felt like.
The best fucking bench coach in the league. Don't let him close to the players outside the game. That's what I say.
Fucking David Desharnais is just fucking saving another man's career. What are you talking about? It was all Desharnais.
Yeah, the best fucking centerman Pacioretty ever played with. There you go.
Yeah. Speaking of Pat,
It's funny because it's true.
yeah, no, offensive output.
Listen.
Yeah.
So
And
what
with
did you think
Cole
of?
on the
No, go ahead.
no, I was just making a joke about Cole being on the other side.
Fuck yeah. So you guys, 3 goalies this year we drafted, right?
It
What do
was
you
an
think of
odd
that?
draft.
Yeah.
It was a
Those are
weird.
really weird.
I mean, they didn't swing for upside in almost any pick. Like I like the Jacob Fowler pick. They were gonna
Yeah.
take a goalie anyway. Like I think you knew they were gonna take one. Three. It was a weird draft. Three goalies, a couple overagers.
Harper's brother.
Florian Jacky in the 4th round. It was an odd draft. For such an offensive draft, like so many offensive players in this draft, they drafted 0 offensive forwards. Like,
That 4th round was really, really weird. Like they drafted 2 off the list goalies and Jacky. When you've got, you drafted your first pick, you went like, oh, we're gonna go defenseman, and some of the best like not best, but like highest ranked defensemen entering the year were still available there. How do you not take a flyer on one of those? It was so weird.
yeah.
Yeah, fucking
I
weird.
wonder, do you remember last year when they drafted Juraj Slavkovsky? And afterwards, Kent Hughes mentioned that they looked at future drafts and they seen the player like a position that they could get in a future draft as to one of the reasons why they took Slavkovsky over someone else. And I think everybody assumed it was Shane Wright or Logan Cooley. I know I said, okay, well, he looked at future drafts and identified centers that he can get, so he took the winger last year. I almost wonder now if instead of talking about Cooley or Wright, he was talking about Nemitz or Juracek, and
Yeah.
he looked at this year, and they had already in the back of their minds had Reinbacher targeted as the right shot defenseman. Everyone thought that he was talking about a center, and maybe they were talking about a right shot D.
That sounds like sound argument, man. Like honestly.
It's all
The only,
conspiracy theory.
the only thing I wonder is there.
Honestly, I just to add to that, look back at the end of the season where they kind of accepted that the team was gonna have highs and low instead of scratching good players and like whoever was producing to really tank. They just let it go, and it feels like maybe that's why they didn't have to battle for bit all that they weren't gonna get the way the team was playing anyway. So you're like, yeah, you know what? We have our guy that we could pick just a few picks under. So it kind of does make sense.
That's
The
that.
one comment he's made since the draft that I don't like is he mentioned that if Reinbacher had been a left shot D, they might have cooled on him. You're kind of admitting that you took him just because he was a right shot D.
Yep.
I don't know. Go ahead, Kevin.
The thing with Reinbacher too is like realistically, if you look at like 20 different website rankings to start the season, some of them go all the way through round 2, and there's not a single one of them that had Reinbacher anywhere in the top 64 to start the year.
Wow.
And so when I hear no, he was right there, I'm like, well, he was right there at the end of the year. He wasn't at the start, and that's for me, it's a huge concern. Yeah, okay, where they finish is more important than when they start. Totally agree, but I can't ignore where they start either, because there's 3 years worth of watching them and evaluating them that goes into these lists. So I mean,
And you guys know Guy Boucher, right? The ex-coach from the Sens and Tampa's farm, right? Not even Tampa, whatever. He said that The Swiss A League is probably more competitive than the AHL in his mind. It's better hockey, literally. It's a tougher
It's a
league.
strong league. Like it's, I think. Do you guys listen to or watch the Sick podcast with Tony Marinero?
Sometimes I do.
He had a gentleman on yesterday, I believe, and he works for this like a analytics company for the Swiss league. So they tracked David Reinbacher for the last couple of years, and apparently he's like off the charts when it comes to like win share, and he was on there basically talking about how good of a pick it was and how good of a defenseman he projects to be. So he talked about the leagues, and he said I think the Swiss league is like the fifth best league technically in the world right now, ahead of the Finnish league, right behind
Wow.
the Swedish Elite League or Swedish Hockey League. So yeah, it's a strong league. It's not like he's playing second tier Swedish hockey or a Czech league, or it's a strong league.
I wonder how
Cool.
many seasons they play in that league because he played only 46 games last year, 20, 22 points on that. I don't know. The first year, 27 games only. So I'm not sure how long he's been there or how many games he played total there, but it seems like it doesn't like zero point 0.5 points per game, approximately like almost half a point per game average for a
Apparently,
Canadian league.
it's a pretty unheralded number for an 18-year-old in that league, 18-year-old defenseman. I mean, Roman Yossi had 8 points in his draft year in the same league. They were almost the same age, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's still his rookie season in that league.
if we ended up drafting fucking Roman Yossi, some of us are gonna have to admit that they had a good,
Yeah.
yeah, they did the right thing, right? Like, fucking, I'll go back looking, yeah, good pick.
What's the comparables for him that you hear most often so far? I've heard more at
Roman.
Cider.
Oh, I heard Yossi, but yeah, they always,
I
I
heard
the
I
fuck
heard
out.
Brodeen.
Brodeen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's underwhelming for fifth overall, in my opinion.
I keep seeing Pesci as the comparable.
Yeah, I know I think it was Corey Proman said Pesci for him. I know Craig Button said. Did you see Craig Button said Adam Larson? And Daniel Winnick commented and said that he played against him all year, and he doesn't see that at all.
I did see that. I was about to bring that up too. That was
The guy that was on Tony's podcast said that this isn't the first time Daniel Winnick has made comments this year about David Reinbacher. Apparently, when he put out his ranking in January or something, he had Reinbacher in his top 5, and Winnick had commented on it and said that he agreed, and he's seen Reinbacher as a future cornerstone defenseman for a team. So it's encouraging, like the stuff that's coming out afterwards. Hey, I never ever said that he was not going to be a stud D. He could be a top pairing D. I just thought they should have took a forward.
fair. It's fair. And like, there's literally no wrong answer because everybody in that, even if let's say Reinbacher does become a star defenseman in his own regard, that means all top 5 of those fucking people are going to be stars. It's not like those other guys are going to miss. You know what I mean? Fucking Carlson, Smith, Mitchkov, they're all going to be fucking stars. Every single one of them. So
Well,
there's no wrong answer in saying I just wish we would have taken the guy who got us 96 points instead of fucking. There's no wrong answer.
I'm
I
gonna
agree,
say it
Brian.
though, Brian. I'm gonna say it.
There's a wrong
Because
answer.
some people were saying too, like, they were comparing the fan reaction to when Gooley was selected, and they're saying, well, when Gooley was selected, everyone wanted a forward, and my reaction is, right, we all love Gooley, and I don't think anybody's going into, well, except maybe a couple idiots on Twitter, but nobody's going in hoping that Reinbacher doesn't pan out, right? Like, we're going to cheer for the kid and hope he pans out for sure. But if we were to redraft today, do you want Gooley or do you want Mercer? Right?
Yeah.
Like, so like you mentioned, I don't think there's a wrong answer. There's a preference to what you wanted the Habs to have on their team.
Take the
Pretty happy
doofy.
with Gooley, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
I heard that he was like their pick, even if like way up their list too. Like, so the fact that we like kind of bobbled that and ended up picking a little bit lower than we probably should have given the season that we had. I heard a rumor that he was going to be their pick, even if they fucking finished way worse that year. So, yeah, I don't know where I heard it or if there's any truth to it, but that's the internet age.
Yep.
Nice.
I might have even heard it. I just said that for good TV.
How do you guys feel about the Jack-Eye brothers being united?
I like it for the story, and hey, who knows? Like,
Stranger things have happened.
stranger things have happened. Obviously, you don't know. It's still a crapshoot. He's an 18-year-old. Maybe he's a late bloomer like his brother, but I think you probably just could have got him a lot later in the draft if you were looking to actually get him.
I've seen a lot of that sentiment. It's like, yeah, I don't hate the pick, but couldn't you use 178 to get it instead?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Well, the thing that's could be like a Bégin like pick though down the road, right? Like guy comes in and just willing to put everything out on the line. On that note, I really like the Hornet pick in the 5th round too. I felt like that was a Gallagher-esque pick that could really pan out.
Was that Sam Harris?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's hope he does.
Gallagher. The cheaper
Gallagher.
version. Wouldn't that be nice?
I loved him at 375.
Yeah.
You guys heard that Belzil was negotiating hard, like he's not willing to let money on the table to stay here and stuff. That he wanted to get. I was like, dude, you fucking made the NHL at like 33 years old. Like I'm exaggerating. I'm sorry, but like 31, right? Like, dude, come on. So you fucking hardballed them.
Belzil? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, career AHLer that the complaints that 1 year you make it, and I'm, oh, I want the big money now. Like, relax, dude. Shit.
Well,
Yeah, there's
certainly got a raise in Washington. I think it was Washington he went.
Yeah, I think that's.
What did he get?
He got a 2-year deal. The first year is a 2-way, and I think the second year is a 1-way. So he's guaranteed, I think, like almost $500,000 or something, even if he plays in the AHL on his 1-way.
Good for him.
That's probably what he wanted.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, for Montreal, I mean, you can't keep everybody. I mean, they got an abundance of forwards. They still have an abundance of forwards. I mean, you're looking for some young guys to take the jump, but you still got some roadblocks there. I mean, are you going to scratch or send down a guy like Armia or Hoffman? You're not going to do it with Hoffman because if he does have a good season, he's trade bait. I mean, Armia.
Or you could lose him.
Armia's not going to have a good season.
On waivers, wouldn't you? You'd have to put Hoffman on waivers to go down.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So and risk losing him for nothing. Like I know it's not,
Yeah, they.
But I mean, like, what do you do now? Do you I think they still have to sign Harvey Pinard. Do you sign him to a 2-way deal just for that reason?
Is he gonna sign a 2-way deal at this point? I mean,
right?
If I was him, I wouldn't.
There's got to be some more moves coming. Has to be.
Oh,
so room's got to open.
Richard.
By the way, Belzil went to the Rangers.
What's that?
What?
Belzil went to the Rangers.
Yes, it was the Rangers. Yes, you're right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what do you think of Richard signing in Boston? That hurts, man.
Yeah, it's weird to see. I don't
think he was going to get a crack in Montreal anyways.
No, but the name, we all overhyped every goal because he was named Richard, right? So now he's going to Boston. That hurts.
Yeah.
Maybe he can legally change his name or.
God damn.
They got
Yeah, we were saying earlier how weird this free agency did. Like, I don't know where anybody went because fucking Twitter was fucking essentially down yesterday. So
yeah,
and you got
I feel
Matt Duchene
equipped to be talking about
Matt Duchene and Blake Wheeler on fucking friendly deals. It's a fucking weird year, man. It's a weird year. I don't know. Man.
Where did Duchene go again?
Dallas.
Yes, right.
That's a good signing.
Yeah.
Probably good fit for him as well. I would think.
Where'd O'Reilly go? Nashville? Ryan O'Reilly?
What, is it done?
Yes, it's done.
Oh shit.
I think you're right.
I have loved Ryan O'Reilly since fucking long time. Remember when there were the first set of trade rumors was coming out that he was going to be moved out of St. Louis? Like, I could dig up tweets where it's like, this is whenever Galchenyuk was scoring 30 goals. I'm like, trade Galchenyuk plus for this fucking guy. I want him, and I've wanted fucking Ryan O'Reilly on my team forever. Now he's old, so I don't want him anymore. But like, fucking.
Apparently, Toronto wanted to re-sign him, and he just decided to leave. And it wasn't because of the money or the term. And he's from Ontario, so that was kind of weird.
I like it.
I think my buddy's a diehard Leafs fan. He said it might have had something to do with Sheldon Keefe. Apparently, O'Reilly came out and questioned some of the coaching decisions in round 2 or whatever. And then when Sheldon Keefe wasn't let go, maybe he decided, like, I'm just not going to stay here with this kind of coach. But that's obviously speculation.
Maybe.
I buy it. It's a fact
there.
enough.
Yeah. I've already tweeted it. as for Jordan, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be concerning because the guy knows how to be a champion. Like, he's got a ring. So if that would be if there's something in that room, I forget who was saying. I think it was Craig Button. That like he had this story where it's like if everybody isn't going the same fucking direction, if there's not 100% fucking forward thinking, forward motion, it's like you don't win anything. If there's one person not fucking buying in, then you never fucking win anything. And I think that was like he was talking about his cup with Dallas. He said somebody had that story. And I think that's true, especially when it comes into the playoffs, man. It gets hard. They asked for Nylander's no 10 team too, right? I heard that he submitted his today or something like that. His list that
I didn't see it, but it wouldn't surprise me. Apparently, he's asking for like 10+ million. He's probably just priced himself out of that market now. Like they can't afford to give him 10+. No. I mean, he's played hardball with them once already, so he's probably willing to do it again, and he'll probably get traded.
I'm looking to be a little different than Dubas, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, he's been their best forward in every fucking playoffs I've seen. Like, since Nylander. He's been their best forward in every fucking playoffs I've seen. And, like, no matter whether they fucking get swept or they get fucking... They lose in 7.
I know what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought yesterday and today was that Habs are in... Like, that's really good for the Habs because there's 2 teams within the division that I just can't figure out what the hell they're doing. Like, Florida and Detroit, what are you doing?
Detroit's a weird one. Like, they had a weird day. They gave term to Justin Hall, and they... what was the other one? A 5-year...
Really?
JT comp for 5 years at $5+ million.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They're having a weird off season.
Jeez, that sounds fucking not even lateral.
Yeah.
No, like Justin Hall, 3 years, $10 million.
What the fuck? Are you guys serious right now? Man, Twitter going down yesterday was
who did they
stupid.
take with their first pick at 9 overall? Was it Nate Danielson?
Yeah.
If we were Hab fans, or if Habs were drafting 9th, would we be happy with Nate Danielson at that 9 spot?
Not when Benson was still on the board.
No, that's exactly who I was thinking of. So maybe, they draft Nate Danielson when they got someone like a Benson on the board. Then they go and give big money, big term to JT Compher. I mean, he had 50+ points last year in Colorado, but it was also Colorado, and I think he was a 30-point player before last year. I mean, then Justin Hall, you got Ben Sherratt back there already. It's like,
yeah, that's gonna be.
I don't know what they're doing. Like,
they signed Lyon too. In net.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a weird season for them too. And then Florida. I mean,
but it's Steve Yzerman. It's gonna fucking turn into a gold by some fucking somehow. It's just gonna all work out.
And Detroit, they'll probably get some star player in the 7th round or something.
Yeah.
Freaking Toffoli demanding a trade from Calgary was also weird. That's another place. Calgary's crashing again. So I don't know. Maybe you should try to reach out for Huberdeau right now. Maybe they're looking to rebuild quickly. So We got a few kids.
That's not a contract I want
Hey,
anywhere
listen,
near the team.
we could have a Pierre-Luc Dubois storyline going on.
Let them crash and burn. We get their pick. Let them fucking crash and burn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think Hughes might be trying to target another Doc/Newhook type trade? I mean, he's still got, like we were talking about, they have an abundance of players. They got some cap space. They're looking,
Jordan,
for age appropriate players.
Can we split Doc and Newhook, please? Like, what the fuck has Newhook done? Like, can we relax a second? Like, come on.
No, but it's a similar type trade.
But what's your hopes, honestly, on Newhook? Do you think he's gonna really explode like Doc did?
I don't know. I mean, what do you consider explode? Kirby Doc went from 27 points to being on pace for 50 plus points.
Yeah.
I mean, Newhook at the same age was scoring 30 points. So, like, I don't know. It's you hope Marty St. Louis can take that type of player. I mean, he's super quick. He's skilled. I mean, you hope Marty St. Louis can.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
You hope Marty St. Louis can do the same thing he did for Doc. Capitalize on his talent and bring him to his potential. So
I just want to bring it like just a point, like St. Louis. We're gonna start seeing a guy that expects wins soon. Like the fucking Cinderella stories. Like you'll see a different guy. The guy's favorite coach was Tortorella. You can expect some fucking. When wins are expected, you'll see.
He's such a competitor. He's not going to accept losing forever.
There you go.
He's already said that fucking Newhook is going to play a bigger role than he did in Colorado. So like,
well, he was playing like 12 to 13 minutes a night in Colorado.
Right, behind like a fucking pretty crazy top six, right? Like, so maybe he even goes to the wing in the top six. I don't know. Like,
I think so.
Let him show you where he wants to be.
Can I be honest?
You said the same fucking thing about Doc. You say the same thing about everybody. We fucking I don't know this fucking guy.
How weird the fucking brag is it to say we have more minutes to give you than fucking Chicago? Tell me, how good is that?
Or Colorado.
Colorado. He was in Colorado.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Makes more sense.
So I questioned the Doc deal a lot last summer, and I think we as Habs fans are like way too high on Doc. The reason Chicago got rid of Doc was not because he couldn't deliver; it's because he couldn't stay healthy, and he still hasn't proven that in Montreal. Now with Newhook better reach Doc, and I think Pat, you were the one that were saying this on Twitter because the timing of the deal was off. They got super high skilled players that slid in the draft, but they had already traded those picks. So Newhook better land a little bit here because you left Gauthier and Cristal and Brindley on the table to go pick probably, if not two of those, to go pick up Newhook. Pressure's going to mount real quick if he doesn't step up and deliver Doc style. So they've got two guys that really have a lot to prove in both of them.
I think so.
Yeah, you're right. I found the timing of the trade weird too because, like, I figure with those picks, that's a draft floor type trade. I mean, that's some valuable capital there. They could have. You look at other guys who slid to like mid 20s. I mean, they could have moved up and got like a Quentin Musty or. I figured that's what they were looking to do. So the timing was weird. I don't mind the value of it. I mean, Newhook was a 16th overall, right behind Caulfield. I mean, in a normal draft, maybe 31 and 37 moves you up to about 15. So the value I didn't mind. I found the timing weird, but you're right. He got a lot to prove. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity, and he's Newfoundlander, so. And he's a Cup champion. I mean, he's a young player. He's the same age as that core. He was drafted in the same draft as Doc and Caulfield. I mean, he's got some experience. He was playing 12 to 13 minutes, put up 30 points. If he's playing on a top six pair in a top six line in Montreal, I mean, he's got the talent. He's got the speed. I bet he's going to be probably our quickest forward. I mean, I don't know in straight line speed if he's faster than Josh Anderson, but he's more agile. He's more better laterally. He's got better hands.
We're we're lacking that in our top six. We have a lot of creativity, and but we don't have a whole lot of flat out speed.
He's not a tiny player. He's not tall, but I mean, like they said, he's 190. He don't play a small game. He plays a heavier game for his size.
Okay. That's really not what I had read, so that's an interesting. I had read that he was kind of easy to knock off the puck, and he was more of a finisher a la Caulfield, which is why I never put him on that line with Suzuki and Caulfield. But that's only what I read, so I haven't really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched enough to know for sure.
I haven't watched enough to know either. I was going off comments from I think some of the staff when they were first asked about the acquisition and stuff.
Okay,
He was mentioned he was a heavier player.
That Colorado Twitter guy, that Adrian Dater, whatever, he fucking hated the trade.
I know.
Hated it. That always warms my heart whenever I see their media not really like the trade.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Imagine how many fan bases we make happy like that. Think about it.
Sorry, Nashville.
Ouch.
I think it was pretty clear in the draft that, I agree. I thought if they weren't going to take Michkov, they should have traded back. I mean, people talked about Philly trying to move up. I thought if they weren't taking Michkov and they wanted Leonard or whoever else, I mean, Reinbacher was obviously an option, they would have been wise to trade back, but obviously it seems clear from a lot of sources that Arizona really wanted Reinbacher, and that's why they went with Simashev, who was their second option on D. So, I mean, you got to imagine Montreal gets wind of Arizona probably going for a defenseman and says, you know what, we're not losing our guy. Obviously, they liked him a lot more than Ryan Leonard, because if they got the seventh pick, they could have had Leonard, but
I think anybody in the top four could have bumped Reinbacher. I don't think anybody else was gonna. If Smith was still available, they probably would have taken Smith.
I think Smith at the end of the day might have been their primary target.
Yeah, me too.
You see, Frank Saravalli, I think it was the day after the draft, said that Montreal was actually trying to swap picks with San Jose because they wanted Reinbacher so bad, and they thought San Jose might take him, so they were willing to move up to 4 and still take Reinbacher. I found that one a little hard to believe because, obviously it's speculation. Everybody seems to speculate he really wanted Will Smith. But who knows, man? I mean, he's clearly really good at sending smoke screens. I mean, we all thought he was going by his word and his comments about the best player available, most talented player available. We're not drafting by position. We all fell into it.
But there's the thing that he's also supports the other idea you brought up earlier that just because he's that much closer to the age of the core of Suzuki and Caulfield, it makes him maybe that much more valuable to them. That they're 2 years ahead of a guy you draft at 18, right? So he's that much closer already. So if it weighs all that much to them to get assets that are close to the core of Suzuki and Caulfield, well, he was the closest in the draft. Well, in the top players. So
and they also go ahead, finish your thought.
I was done.
Okay. They also said earlier that week that they were looking for an age-specific forward and then traded for a 22-year-old. So I think it's
you're halfway there. You're halfway there with that pick, man.
Yeah.
He clearly said that they're looking to expedite the process. So that's what I was wondering. I wonder if he's looking at making another one of those deals. I mean, they do have an abundance of players. Like you said, I think he has a line in the sand for Josh Anderson. I think Josh Anderson would be. I think he'd consider moving Anderson in that type of deal if he's getting a younger forward, depending on the value. I mean, you look around the league, you don't know who he would target. There's two obvious guys in New York, I think, Alexi Lafreniere and Cabo Caco. I don't think New York wants to trade them, but he still got the assets to make another move like that if he wanted to. But yeah, I think it's obvious he's trying to fill his roster with talented players that are that same age. The 22 to 24, 25-ish range to fit that core.
Which is another reason why he didn't ultimately pull the trigger for Dubois as well. because the ask would have been astronomical. They would have got older. We have more to offer in the futures department than in like roster players for a fucking deal like that, right? So
Yeah.
I think the proof is in the pudding. I think we're on to like phase 2. I think he's going to start to have to make some smart hockey trades instead of relying on solely on the draft. We might get one more high draft pick, but I don't think we're going to be drafting that much in the top 5
People
much
are going to
longer.
be so happy when he does exactly what Bergevin was going to do.
Rebuild?
No, retool. Don't fucking use that
Retool.
hard word.
Man, I honestly think fucking Bergevin wanted to come and fucking tear it all down when he first got here. I think that's part of what happened. I
Well,
think
I
he
think-
wanted to.
Didn't they say, where was it that said that was his plan? Like when he was interviewed for the job, he wanted to do a rebuild, and ultimately he never ended up doing it. But yeah, I think that was part of the plan when he got hired.
Guys,
I heard.
we have Mathieu, our boy, in the chat, who has a question. What is the best move these past few days? Acquiring Newark, drafting Reinbacher, or trading Edmondson? What's the number one move?
Who wants to go
At
first?
the end of the day, I think it's going to be drafting Reinbacher. I wish we got the shiny new toy, but I have a feeling that this kid is going to be something special for us, and we're going to love him in the end. Go ahead, boys.
I think you're right. I think like if you look, it depends how you look at it. I think if you're looking at just pure value of those 3 options, obviously Reinbacher he projects to be, a really really good player. Obviously I think a lot of people will judge Reinbacher based on how the other players that were available to them do. I mean, I hate to say it, but if Michkov comes over in 3 years and is that 50 goal, 100-point guy, there's a lot of people, probably including myself, I'm going to be guilty of it. There's probably going to be a lot of people to make comments and say like, you know what, this is what we were afraid of. And this is what we could have had. And it's not fair to David Reinbacher. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on him, obviously, to know that it might be judged that way. But yeah, value-wise, David Reinbacher should be the best value of these moves these last couple of days. Trading Edmondson was obviously good because of the cap, but I'm really optimistic about Newhook. But like you're saying, if you can get that, if Reinbacher turns into a top-pairing D, I mean, especially right shot, that's value there.
I don't know how, like, is there just not a lot of right shot D? Like, everybody talks about it being like this position that's coveted more than anywhere else. Is that, I never even knew that, to be honest.
I think traditionally, like, I don't know, I don't know where it came from.
Guys, I know.
I think traditionally along a lot of high-end defensemen were left shot, maybe.
Here's the thing, guys. We've been looking for centermen for 25 years, so we don't know there's other positions that you could require. So that's really the explanation why right now we're like, what the fuck is a right-handed defenseman? Like, there's a reason to that. Calm down. We have centers now. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine that plays into their selection as well. They're probably looking at it like, yeah, maybe some of these forwards do have a higher ceiling, but if they don't reach their ceiling, and Reinbacher gets closer to his ceiling, like if that right shot D holds way more value than a winger,
Kev?
But their decor should be done now. I mean, if they're still looking for any more young D, it's time to stop now. Like you got your future.
Yeah, agreed. You've even got like a lot of competition happening. Like we've got we've got so much depth at left D prospect. It's ridiculous.
And at the end of the day, if all those young kids reach their potential or close to, I mean, you're still going to end up having to move out a guy like Mike Matheson. Maybe, like, if you project their future lineup, what do you say? Like, you probably say, like, a Hudson and Reinbacher together, a Gooley, Mayu, Harris, Barron. Jack-Eye is there to compete for a spot. You got Adam Engstrom coming up to compete for a spot. who else? You might have someone coming out of the blue. Like no one really talks about William Trudeau, but he had a really good rookie season in the AHL. I mean, you don't know if someone like that competes for a spot in another year or two. I mean, you got that young base and those potential pairings. I mean, Hudson was practicing with Reinbacher in a pair today at development camp already. So obviously, they looked at that as well. They're looking at who would be a good fit for Lane Hudson. So
We've never really, like, in the last little while too, we haven't had the best compatibility at D anyway. Like, there was never really a true fucking pairing that was like just gelled to the point where it was like those are your two guys. Markov used to make everybody around him better, and he used to make Petrie so much better than Petrie actually was. And I think that we were all fooled by Petrie henceforth. Like, I think Markov made him look so good that he got a pass for 5 years
yeah.
afterwards.
I mean, I think a lot of people said Mark. Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
But imagine carrying a guy like Komisarek to the All Stars. Like, imagine that. It's insane. The fucking drop
Yeah.
that guy took, and the money he made just because he looked so good with Markov, man. But just
Mhm.
to come back, Kev, what's the favorite move between the three?
Right, Kev.
Okay, wait, now you changed the question. Is it the one because they're talking value, you're talking favorite move because the most value?
He said the best move.
The question was, hang on, I'm gonna find it again.
What is the Habs' best moves in these past few
best,
days?
best move actually, yeah.
So it's your
The
opinion.
the best move ends up being Reinbacher. My favorite right now is Edmondson because I have a lot of questions with the other two. But
Fair
Fair.
enough. So, like, there's no confusion as to why we moved Edmondson. That's just put a little change in the purse.
yeah, and we knew it was coming, and to free up that spot because we got a ton of kids coming. That's it had to
Right.
happen.
It had to happen. I thought it was going to happen at the deadline. A lot of people did.
For me, the return is underwhelming for Edmondson, so you can't beat that for sure. Newa could be like, but I don't know. Yeah, right backer is the easy answer in my books.
What do you guys think of ceiling? Like, I don't know if like any of us watched a lot of New Hook at all, but like based on scouting reports and projection and what he's done, and what do you guys think is a realistic ceiling for New Hook? Not like what he might do next year, but do you think he becomes maybe a 50 to 60 point player?
Low end 40, I would say. That's
Yeah.
that's the number that jumped out at me. Give me 40 points, and high end 50, 55, and I don't know. That's the value I would see. I'd be very happy with that.
I would agree with Brian. He could potentially get more if he was surrounded better. But by everything that I've seen in the last 2 years, the Habs are lining up to be a strong defensive team again that's going to scratch by for scoring. So probably low 40s, low to mid 40s.
If he could get onto a second power play too, though, that could really help it out. I don't think he was on the power play in Colorado. I could be wrong.
I think he plays second power play because I could be wrong too, but like just going through highlights, it seems like he scored some bumper slot power play goals in Colorado. But
I think they were saying 22 of his 30 points were scored at 5-on-5 last year, so he might have got on, but not a ton.
yeah, that's encouraging as well, though. It's always more important to score more on 5-on-5 than rely on your power play for your production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, he's going to get power play time in Montreal. I guarantee you that. They're not giving up a first and a high second and not giving this kid every opportunity to succeed. I mean, he's going to get the Kirby Doc treatment. I know St. Louis is probably going to start expecting more results, but it's like he said, he went from, a toddler, like an infant stage to a toddler. So I think there's still going to be baby steps with this roster. They're still a young team. That core is still all around 22, 23 years old. I mean, he's going to get every opportunity to succeed in Montreal. So hopefully it happens.
I'm optimistic for the kid. I didn't think Caulfield was going to slide to 15, so like he was definitely on my radar in 16. So
I'm a little biased, obviously. If he was my pick if Caulfield wasn't there.
fair enough.
So, Newark's line partners have been Cogliano, Logan O'Connor for the last, 13% of the time, and then it's Nishushkin, Rodriguez and Newhook, and then there's fucking Rantanen, Comper, Newhook. So I don't see why he's not producing at all. There's just several good players on that had several better seasons. I don't.
It also indicates that they're jumbling lines, and maybe not everybody has like time. Like you get to know these guys like your brothers if you're on a line like like Bergeron, Marchand, like those guys. But if he's going to be on 17 different line combinations, like it's tough. I don't know.
I think
Maybe.
that's probably also just a result of being on like a third line. I mean, if he's playing 12 to 13 minutes a night, he's not getting regular top 6 minutes. You usually see some lines juggled in your bottom six pretty frequently. So
Well, yeah, I guess 30 points isn't nothing at all.
And of course, there's injuries too. So like if he's on the third line, if somebody gets injured on the second line, he moves up. That could like account for rent
So
and
if
time.
there's something, he played the whole 82 games in Colorado this year, so maybe that's something good for a team that
Yeah,
it beat fucking
gets
records
injured.
for beat fucking records for injuries, man. So maybe that's something also.
That's encouraging, actually. Like I like to see that played all 82 games. That's huge because we
boys,
don't
it's
have a whole lot.
because he's from the Rock. He grew up on codfish. Like
Nice,
He grew up on
just
content.
it just creates durability, man.
Fuck, he
nice.
drinks Screech after a win.
Wow, man. So yeah, a new Suzuki in the Ironman contest for the Habs.
I welcome it.
Absolutely, we all do, dude.
Yeah, I
These
mean,
past 2 years have been fucking.
what do you make
Oh,
of the term? Well, I don't know if termination would be the right word, I guess technically, but the head athletic therapist and the physiotherapist, Grant Ryman, and the other gentleman's name escapes me. What do you think of their dismissal? I mean, we
There
all
was smoke.
assumed something was going to happen, I imagine.
Yeah. There was smoke there, man. Like a lot of people said it, and a lot of people like pointed fingers directly at them. I thought it was fucking crazy. I thought it was just Twitter insanity. But I mean, there was smoke and there was fire. So they got like the guy from the Rangers, right? They headhunted a guy from the Rangers who's considered like the best in the business. So
Yeah.
there was something there. I'll take the L on that because I thought that was just fucking Twitter conspiracy out the ass. I'm like, you guys are crazy. They wouldn't have the best doctors than the Montreal fucking Canadiens, right?
Yeah.
So I'll take the L there, man. Fucking, there was smoke.
it's done.
I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna be petty and whine about Reinbacher some more. They went out and got the Ranger guy. they went they went out and got the Ranger guys. I sure hope he does better than Bobrov's been doing. There, I said it.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are skeptical. I mean, and critical of Bobrov for good reason. I mean, you look at some of his moves and his track record; they're not the greatest. Time will tell. I mean, they went not so much off the board. I don't think either pick was off the board. They didn't reach down like if you look at Arizona, they took Simishev as 6.
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
crazy.
a lot of people had him ranked in like the 20s. They didn't reach for Reinbacher. A lot of people had him in their top, like, yeah, some people had him 15, 12, whatever, but I mean, a lot of people had him 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
Slavkovsky finished number 1 on Bob McKenzie's list. He was a consensus top 3 to 4 guy.
Now these people that put out their rankings, it's like literally the best player available to their opinion too. Like they're not the ones running a hockey team that have needs and stuff like that too. So like the fact that some of these guys dropped to 15 on the list is because they're not saying that, oh, this organization absolutely needs a right defenseman and now and this and that. So there's nuance to everything. Like the rankings are great, but each team has a fucking picture of their puzzle that needs to be put together,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's why
Yeah,
the rankings and drafts differ quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
and these guys, they're yeah. Imagine basing your own little list on echoes of what the real guys are saying, right? Which is sometimes bluff, sometimes real, sometimes you don't feel. Even Bob doesn't get 100% true story from the guys internally, right?
Hey,
Even
you don't
even
know
he
what
gets
10
played.
scouts he's interviewing too. Like, is he talking to guys that are drafting top 10, or is he talking to guys that are, they know they got the 26th overall pick, so they can rank a guy higher because they don't have to worry about making that pick. Like, there's a lot
Metzer
of variables to it.
Metzer makes a good point, and it's his field of work. So he says rehab is a marathon, not a sprint. And when you start sprinting through a marathon, you're bound to get injured. And so he thinks that the staff in place maybe has more impact than what I think, or yeah, I don't think it mattered all that much who's there, but Metzer seems to think otherwise, and I guess
I mean, I think a lot of their injuries were just bad luck. I mean, Slavkovsky injured his knee. Caden Gooley, someone fell on his leg and injured his knee. A lot of them were like Josh Anderson slid into the post. I don't think that's any medical staff issue. That's just fluke injuries. There's no way to prevent those. But what I look at is letting some of those players play while they were injured. I mean, Sean Monahan walked into Calgary in a walking boot and still ended up playing that game and a couple more. I mean, Brendan Gallagher came back with played with a broken ankle. Cole Caulfield dislocated his shoulder and was allowed to continue play. The players, they should be shut down. I mean, that's the big question mark for me. I mean, some of the fluke injuries, you can't complain about those, but why are we letting guys play through injury so much in a lost season besides? I mean, you weren't going anywhere. Why would you risk Cole Caulfield's shoulder to win a couple more games? Or like, what are we doing here? Who's making that decision? Is that a decision from your head athletic therapist, or you know, obviously there had to be change. I mean, you don't want to see those decisions made. I mean, Carey Price was allowed to play through injury. Shea Weber was allowed to play through injury. I mean, it cost the team, and it was building up.
At the end of their careers too, like
Yeah.
players, right?
But Jordan, you included talking about two guys who lost their jobs. Brendan Gallagher breaking down. That's unfair. That's just unfair. I just wanted to slide it in.
I mean, obviously, but I mean, when you break your ankle, you should. Are we not giving players like the proper diagnosis? Are we not giving them X-rays? Are we like? Apparently, he had a broken ankle. Like, did it not show up on an X-ray? Like, are we just letting him go out there and tough it out because he's Brendan Gallagher? Like, at some point, if you're a medical staff, you got to step in and say, you're injured. You're not playing. Like, this is our job to prevent you from hurting yourself.
Now, was he allowed to lace up again, or did he go out on like after a intermission with a broken ankle? Because I know for a fact sometimes you don't even notice until your skate comes off.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
So
I don't know if he was
I don't
allowed
know
to play other games or not, but apparently, like, I know Stu Cowan talked about on a podcast not long ago. He took a fall in practice one morning. I think it was like in Nashville or something. He fell into the boards and he was laying on the ice for like longer than Brendan Gallagher normally would. And he got up, went off the ice, came back, and finished practice and played the next game. And afterwards, he admitted to the media that it was his ankle that he hurt in the practice. And this was when he was coming back from his first injury, when he originally hurt his ankle. So, like, it just seems like there's not enough precaution being taken with some of these players and their injuries. Like, it's just being mishandled.
And I mean, like, we could look at Gallagher's career alone, and that could be grounds for dismissal. You know what I mean? The guy has been brought back so many times early, and he's always hurt. And like, is it because they don't take enough time in between? Let the guy heal properly. I don't know.
So said that last year, right? Oh, he had the longest time ever, man, to recover. This time he's gonna just collapse. You cannot. Gallagher isn't built to handle Gallagher style of play. That's it. Just
What was it?
he's going. Yeah, you can't play Corey Perry style on playing Gianta's body.
Well,
There it is.
I wonder, because Gallagher was always known for like hardcore training in the off season, coming in like impeccable shape. But now that he's kind of clawing up there a little bit in his age, if he doesn't need to slow down on that to allow him to be more durable with the rest. And I wonder how much more of the Habs are in that kind of same boat where through the Bergevin years, everyone wanted to be this giant, like muscle guy, and how much, there's a certain tipping point where if you treat your body like a machine, that machine breaks down. And so if they need to kind of step back and, Phil Kessel doesn't miss a game and he's not in the greatest shape ever, so I wonder if that.
You're right. At some point, and maybe at some age, rest becomes more important than the training. I mean,
right.
Like you're saying, the constant weights or the constant exercise, it's taking a toll on your joints. It's taking a toll on your body. Like at some point, you might be right. Maybe for a guy like Brendan Gallagher, maybe rest would be more important than just wearing his body to the bone every opportunity he gets. I mean, it's bred into him. His father is a strength and conditioning coach for the Vancouver Giants, so I think he's been like that forever. So, but I don't know. Like, are you just letting these players make those decisions? What?
Khabib says the best recovery is rest. He's adamant about it. Every time he has a fight and every time he's training, he's sleeping in between trainings and stuff like that. He says rest is the best recovery.
Yep.
And I mean, it's hard to argue with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, pretty successful.
I don't speak Russian.
Imagine all this conversation over a joke of fucking Gallagher breaking down.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Right, let's have it. Let's do like the one pick that, or the one move you want to see before October. The one move that you want to see, like whether it's shedding a contract, whether it's bringing someone in. What is one move you want to see? And I think this could be a good wrap it up.
So is this like, does it have to be realistic? Because like instantly you just say I want him to shed Brendan Gallagher's contract, but like, are we talking?
But tell us how you would do it. Like if that's something that like this is what I want to do, tell us how you would do it, and like if it's like, is it worth it financially? Like, let's hear it. How do you shed Brendan Gallagher's contract?
I think I don't know if you could. I mean, if you could find a team with like an Arizona that's used to taking big contracts or something. I mean, someone that has a lot of cap space, but it would cost way too much to shed that contract. I mean, you've seen Toronto give up a first-round pick to get rid of like a year or two of a goalie that was making like $3.5 million. What would it cost to shed Brendan Gallagher $6.5 million for like the next 4 years?
Somebody just dumped a $6 million contract very recently and didn't have to pay a king's ransom. I forget what it was. It was like 4 days ago.
What was the term on it, though? That's the kicker. I mean, if it's a 1 year, $6 million contract, it's a lot different than a whatever. Like, what does Gallagher have left? 4 years or something? Like,
I think it's two. I think.
That's the thing with Bettman in Arizona. It's actually a tool they use. They don't mind paying escrow because they can send dead contracts there. You like conspiracies? There's a good one. The team paid itself a fucking graveyard, and the rich teams, they pay escrow. They don't mind because they know they can ship that fucking contract over there when their turn comes.
Gallagher only got 2 years left. Didn't he sign a 6 year deal?
A while ago.
He signed it in Bergevin's last season, didn't he? That was only 2 years ago.
Somebody hop on Cap Friendly. Let's hear it. Let's check it out.
What's the
Pat? You got all those?
Yeah. What contract?
Brendan Gallagher.
You probably searched it 65,000 times now.
He was extended, but so he only started getting his full salary last year.
Oh, my bad. That's not even 2 years.
That's my.
When does his contract end?
Oh, my bad. It was 2022. So we're gonna start the third year of this contract next year.
Can you scroll down to the bottom and say when the contract? Like, is it 26? 25, 26 that we're out of his contract?
26, 27, buddy.
All right, so we were both right. Right in the middle. Yeah, that's a while.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think something like that is realistic for this team. I don't think they're going to get out of that contract. So if
he'll probably live out the IR anyway. He's like at the end of the day, it's just going to be a hindrance before the start of the season. That's all it's going to be.
I know it sounds silly, but if you're looking at like a realistic, I don't know how realistic, but like I look at this past draft, and if this team is gonna take a shot at getting an elite level forward, I think a lot of us think they're probably not going to be another bottom 5 team again next year. They're going to start maybe taking some steps. So your odds of drafting that star forward are probably decreasing as we go from here on out.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind seeing them make another deal for a young player who hasn't broken out. I mean, what would it cost to pry Alexi Lafreniere from New York? New York's
I don't
trying
know.
to win now.
I like
I
it.
think
He's
I think a lot of those
French.
deals
Oh yeah.
start with Josh Anderson. So like build around that. If somebody wants to like bolster their lineup and sacrifice some youth, then I think it starts with Josh Anderson. I
Yeah,
think
I do too. I mean, if you look at valuable assets, the only other valuable asset that Montreal might be looking to move in the next couple of years, and I could be totally wrong, would be Mike Matheson. But I don't think they're willing to move. I don't think they're going to consider moving him right now. I mean, he's a stopgap for a guy like Elaine Hudson, so you're probably going to keep him around for who knows how long. But Josh Anderson's a guy, I think, like you said, there's a line in the sand, and if they can get a young player that's got a much higher ceiling than a Josh Anderson, I think they would pull the trigger on something like that.
I still think
Not saying we're getting the Lafreniere for Josh Anderson. Sorry to cut you off.
where it starts. That's where it starts.
Yes,
I think that's the ask from the other teams. Like if they're going to be trying to make a push, Josh Anderson helps.
No, you don't.
Kev, what's a move that you want to do?
Okay, realistically, move Hoffman out. Like I said, I think the writing's on the wall. I don't think use that spot more effectively with him.
What are you targeting with him? Like, are you trying to? Do you think would you just take the fucking cap space and just move it like a late round pick, or were you trying to get a return?
Everyone's favorite, future considerations.
He's played for us so many times.
Yeah, I don't know how much you get for Mike Hoffman. You look at someone like a Klim Kostin and a Yamamoto. They got given away together for nothing. I'm not saying that Mike Hoffman can't be better than those guys, but cap space, like we talked about last time, Brian Cash is king. Cap space is so valuable right now. Just getting rid of Mike Hoffman's cap and freeing up that spot for a younger player, like they're gonna have to find room for Raphael Harvey-Pinard on this team. I mean, Yolonen was pushing for a spot. I mean, they got young guys coming up, and I don't think
they've been qualified too. So like,
So I love Jordan's just said because it feeds right into my unrealistic things, and I'd love to see happen in the dream world. So in a dream world, I'd probably put Hoffman with Harvey-Pinard to get him out, and then I'd take a run at Tyler Bertuzzi. Though he'd never come to Canada, I'm just putting it out there. I think he's a player style that the Habs don't have, and he'd be great.
They should have just drafted Ryan Leonard then.
Or Brady Kachuk.
I also wouldn't have.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man, is it realistic to get rid of Armia? I mean, 3.4 cap hit.
Call around the league and find out if anybody's been watching him play in the World Championships every year.
Tell you, it's easier to get rid of his 3.4 than it is as Hoffman's 4.5 or Gallagher's 7.5 or whatever the hell that is.
6.5.
So I think it is very realistic to get rid of Armia. Like,
So
I think it's easy.
If we can,
It'll
get rid
cost
of
you.
him, oh no, you're not being. That's the point. You can't, like, if you end that flout, you give him future considerations. A good example, or if you shed out like a late pick,
you're gonna
6 or 7
need
or
a late
5.
You need a late pick.
Okay,
you
let's
need
get
a third or fourth.
No, that's
we'll get.
Because he's got term left, right? He got 2 years left.
This one.
That's the kicker. I think Mike Hoffman would actually be easier because he's on his final year. You can retain 50% on Hoffman. They're not going to retain 50% on the term of Yoel Armia. So
it's two, Kev. It's this
You're
year,
right.
2023, 24, 24, 25. So only 2 more with this one coming.
So I think Armia probably gets moved next summer.
yeah.
Yeah, so it might be the target to get rid of Hoffman. Then that could be the next thing that's happening. It could like you said, the writing's on the wall, and it could just very well be it. I don't know what I would do. Now you guys have said everything I wanted to say. I wanted to get rid of Armia's contract. I wanted to get rid of Hoffman's contract, but again, and I like Jordan's answer. Like, fucking, let's make a lateral move for somebody who wants to make a push now. Get rid of Anderson and bring back his true value. I love them all, boys.
Maybe we should
What
see
what's one thing you're really looking for in this coming season? Like, what's one vital thing that you think needs to happen for this team to
Listen, I got one. It's too good.
to take a not take a real step up the standings, but like one important thing that you think needs to happen for this team this season?
Listen,
Fucking players, healthy.
listen. What's gonna happen is now Pelix was gonna come to LA, right? Who doesn't like that? Philip Dano hates when young talent pushes him down the lineup. So listen, guys, listen. Here's our chance to get him back. We won't be happy that they got a young, talented center coming up the lineup. He doesn't like that. We got but good pizza. We got fucking Saint Jean Baptiste goals going on. I think we bring him back home, man.
That's another thing with Alex Newhook we forgot to mention. He can play center or the wing.
I think he's going to have to play the wing with Monahan.
I think so too. They have 5 centers. I mean,
but in the
Okay.
top 6, I think.
So
Yes.
Pat brought up something interesting because everyone said if LA was making the move for Dubois, Montreal should take that run for Byfield. Do we have what it takes to take a run at Byfield?
I
Well,
think you
do
might
what
have
we
you
want.
might have enough what it takes, but I don't think you're going to want to give up that type of package. I mean,
Exactly.
I think it's going to cost a lot, especially where they're content on just keeping them on the wing. If the player is content with staying on the wing, I mean, you've seen in the past some players want to leave a situation because they can't play up the lineup or play their natural position or.
Eller. You're talking about Lars Eller.
Well, yeah. So it's like if Byfield is just happy being on the wing with those talented players, I don't see the motivation for them to get rid of him. I think his ceiling is just too high, and you see some of those big players, man, those big, lanky, big frame guys. It takes some of them time to develop into their ceiling. I mean, that's the hope with Juraj Slavkovsky, and it ties into my question I asked about important things that I'd like to see next season. I think the number one important thing this team needs to see is some good progression from Juraj Slavkovsky.
I agree.
What do you think it's going to happen?
I'm optimistic. I mean, I think the potential's there. I think he's really raw. I think, like I was saying, those big guys. Hopefully, he's one of those big guys that just takes some time. I mean, you see the flashes. I think he just needs to catch up with the pace of the game in North America and the processing speed. And I'm optimistic, but I mean, I think you really want to see, with all the controversy going on this summer and the draft and whatnot. I mean, I think you need to see a big season from him. Like, I don't want to put unrealistic expectations, but if he gets the ice time and he gets the top 6 opportunity, and you want to see maybe 20 goals, I mean, at least.
You see a lot of people talking about like all these top round picks and stuff like that. I see him left out of all the conversations. Like he's just forgotten already. And I would really like to see him take a step too.
A lot of people didn't like that pick. A lot of people still criticize that pick. But it's not like he's not. Yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's not like he wasn't a highly touted prospect though. I mean, he's got a high ceiling. He was drafted there for a reason. If he didn't go number 1, there's a lot of speculation he was going number 2 to New Jersey. So I mean, it's not just Montreal that thought Juraj Slavkovsky could be a really good hockey player. Whether he hits that ceiling, who knows? But I think you need to see a really encouraging season from him this year.
Great.
And what do you guys think of the potential if he does not look like he took that step, sending him to the AHL early in the season this year?
I don't think they will, but I think they've got time with him, so...
You're right. I don't think they will either, but I don't think it's a horrible idea.
I don't like it, man. Here's why. It's even worse. There's at least 2 or 3 goons in every fucking team just trying to show himself, and I don't like it. We've seen.
No, you're right.
One of Uri's weaknesses is that he doesn't protect himself well. Oh, he's gonna learn in the AHL, but at what cost? How many good concussions can you take before
Yeah.
We've seen it. So I don't want to see him play AHL. He needs to own that fucking spot. So shove it on the fourth line and earn your way, man. And be hard on him. Make him climb that roster and that lineup. In my opinion, and you can't say AHL is too fucking stupid. They're savages, and yeah, there's at least two or three goals every fucking team trying to just nail the bigger guy out there, and I don't think that's a good
I
idea.
agree with that part. I mean, I would like the ice time he would be guaranteed in Laval, but you're right. I mean, people would be targeting him. I just don't want to see him play on the fourth line in Montreal anymore. I think if you're gonna keep that kid in Montreal, he needs that ice time. He needs that opportunity with talented players. I've
I agree
watched
with.
for too long high draft picks play bottom 6 minutes and try to develop into offensive players. It's a lot harder to develop into a scorer and an offensive player when you're playing with fourth line players. I don't want to see it anymore.
Especially
And to be
Suzuki.
honest, like
Go ahead.
some of that headhunting is what he needs fucking practice with. So fucking having people in the AHL coming at him left, right, and center might not be the worst thing for that guy. He needs to learn how to keep his fucking head up.
Yeah, I don't like the
I
consequence
think I
if you
think
don't
training
learn
camp and
fast enough.
preseason and early in the season is going to tell a lot. I mean,
Word.
if he looks impressive in camp, if he looks impressive in preseason,
I wouldn't
like I
hate
said, I
seeing
don't
him.
think they're going to send him down. I think it's a very slim chance they're going to send him down anyway.
Yeah,
But
but
I
honestly, I think he's the natural complement to a guy like Suzuki and Caulfield, like on that line. If it can work,
I
and
agree.
you
let it sit there. If he underperforms with these guys, you'll feel it from the line. Like Suzuki and Caulfield are gonna want to be at that level. So let the peer pressure apply itself with the right way.
We also started like pretty healthy and above expected expectations last season. And I have a feeling that if we fucking started slow and whatnot, I think some of that might have stuck together a little bit longer. You know what I mean? I think he would have had a longer leash with Suzuki and Caulfield if we were already in a lost season, 10, 15 games in. But the fact that we were in a bubble spot, everybody was staying healthy, our D's fucking not the tire fire we thought it was going to be, neither's the goaltending. I think that's when they started shuffling and fucking doing coaching with lines and stuff like that to try and get wins instead of loss or not developing. If
Yeah, I
that makes
agree.
sense.
Like I said, Marty St. Louis is the ultimate competitor. If he has a chance to win a game, he's going to take his chance to win that game. I don't think he has the pressure to have a lot of wins. Like, I still think this team is in its infancy and where it's trying to go. So I don't think he's like, there's a lot of pressure to win, but it's Marty St. Louis. He always wants to win. So it's
Losing
like you
is his
said,
end.
exactly.
Right.
If they had a hot start or, like you said, a better start that was anticipated, he's going to try to keep riding that. And
Sure.
like you said, if things were clicking, you could see why he didn't get there right away. But it was kind of encouraging. I thought before he got hurt, his last 5 or 6 games, he actually looked like he was playing a little bit better. And I know when they played him with Monahan a bit, they looked pretty decent together. But then unfortunately,
Yep.
just everything fell apart injury wise. But yeah, I think hopefully you see a good season from him this year. And
I agree.
like you said, Pat, I think when they drafted him, you have to imagine that they envisioned him on a line with Suzuki and Caulfield. I mean, we didn't have Kirby Doc at the time. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Doc is so good with that line," and he is. But I mean, we just went through another draft where we didn't draft a high-end center, so you gotta imagine they want Kirby Doc playing center.
They do, I believe.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
and
And
I think he should be playing center too.
Oh
and
yeah.
that'll tie into my answer to your question, Jordan, which is what this team needs to see this year. Ryan, you mentioned health, specifically Doc. Doc is running out of pace. Yeah. Oh, he was on pace, so he's got potential. He's got to show it. He's got less time to show it than Slavkovsky does. He needs to stay healthy this year and have a full season. Being on pace for something at a certain age, no, you're just injury prone. So he's got to show it this year.
You're right.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can talk about all the talent or all the players the team's going to bring in, but if they don't stay healthy, they don't have a chance to win anything anyway.
For
Yep.
sure.
Like, yeah, I think Mark Stone his whole career is in jeopardy now, isn't it?
Yeah. So I made a joke that he's probably already on injured reserve until next year's playoffs.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
All right, fuck the Knights.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, boys. It was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Like.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to announce Jordan is going to write for us.
Yeah, do
Oh
it.
yeah.
Right now? We still here?
Yeah. Watch this.
Just a little
Huh?
little bit of housekeeping. Jordan here is going to be joining We Habs as like a guest writer on our website. Whenever we get articles up there and running, we've got one up just because we wanted to make sure it worked. But Mr. Jordan Decker, at Jordan Decker on Twitter, follow him, everybody.
Same
He'll
for
be
Kev.
joining us writing.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Like.
Your
And
handles
thanks,
have
Kevin.
been. Sorry.
Like I said to you, Brian, I tweet about hockey all day anyway, so just putting it in long form is going to be interesting, and I'm excited to give it a shot with you guys.
And I'm excited to have you come on the team, man. Ciao, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Kev,
It was a pleasure. It
Justin,
was a pleasure meeting you, Kev.
Go follow
Hope to do
these fine folks.
It was a pleasure, guys. I can't wait to do it again.
Your handles have been floating over the chat for over the video the whole time, so people know where to go and follow you guys. So thanks for tuning in, folks.
Sorry, too many posts. You're going to get your rate limit exceeded.
Oh, yeah.